Hello again, BookTube, it's Amy here, and I'm here to announce a Balzac read-along. So as I find myself the proud owner of a complete set of Balzac, I thought I would begin at the beginning of the set with Volume 1 here, which contains several of the earlier published works of Balzac. So we have in here At the Sign of the Cat and Rackett, the Sceaux Ball, the Purse, the Vendetta, Madame Firmiani, A Daughter of Eve, and Letters of Two Brides. So these are short novels and what I would think would be novellas, as some of them are quite short. So I'm going to be beginning on June 1st with the first work in this volume, At the Sign of the Cat and Rackett. I did look it up online, and so the original French title for this is La Maison du Chat qui Pilote. At the Sign of the Cat and the Rackett is how it's been translated here, but you might also find this story under the title The Cat and the Battledore, translated by Philip Kent in 1879. The translation of At the Sign of the Cat and Rackett, which I have, is most likely the one by Clara Bell. As I mentioned earlier when I was showing off this set, there is no translator listed. I don't know who wrote the prefaces for these volumes, but given the title, I would suspect that I do have the Clara Bell translation. The Clara Bell translation is from 1895, and it was translated by Bell for the Saintsbury edition of the Human Comedy. The Human Comedy is sort of Balzac's umbrella term for many of his works, and you might also find this under the title of Fame and Sorrow, translated by Catherine Prescott Wormley for the Roberts Brothers in 1896. Or you might find it as The House of the Cat and Rackett, translated by May Tomlinson for Caxton Press in 1896. But as I said, I do believe I have the Clara Bell translation. If you'd like to read along, feel free to choose whatever translation you like, whatever translation is most accessible. Wikipedia, for what it's worth, does suggest that the Clara Bell translation is the most definitive, as it was based on, I guess, the most recent edition of Balzac's story, as it was initially published and then some minor changes may have been made, but the Clara Bell translation, I guess, is based on the most up-to-date edition of the story in the French. So as I said, I'm beginning with At the Sign of the Cat and Rackett on June 1st, and it's actually a fairly short little work. It only reaches to page 86 in my volume, and that includes the preface and the introduction as well. The story itself doesn't start until page 27. So it's only about 50 or 60 pages long, so it won't take me that long. So I'm thinking I'm going to take about a week to read it, and I will be beginning that on June 1st and wrapping up by about June 7th or 8th, because on June 8th I would like to start the second work contained in this volume called the Sceaux Ball. And this one was originally published in French as Le Bal de Sceaux. The Ball at Sceaux is the most common English translation of the title. It is, oddly enough, the fifth work in the Human Comedy, so I guess the works are a little bit out of order in these sets. But I'll be beginning that on June 8th. Originally published in 1830, that one was, and I'll be reading that until about June 14th or 15th, when I'll wrap that up, and I'll begin on the third work in here titled The Purse, which begins on page 149 of my edition. And let me scroll down here in my Word document. I did a little bit of digging. La Bourse would be the French title, and that's quite short as well. So I'm going to take a few days for that before I begin on the Vendetta, which begins on page 183 of my volume. And that, of course, was originally published in the French under the title of La Vendetta. And that, that's not too long either. So by June 22nd, I'm going to start in on Madame Firmiani, which is once again another short work. But then we come to the end of the shorter works and we reach The Daughter of Eve, A Daughter of Eve, which was originally published in French under the title Une Fille d'Eve, and I'm going to be beginning that on June 26th. And this is sort of a proper novel in its own right. It is 150-200 pages long in here. It's got its own preface in here as well. And I'm going to take some time to read that before starting in on Letters of Two Brides on June 29th. That is the final novel included in volume 1. And Letters of Two Brides was originally published under the title Mémoires de deux jeunes mariés, and it's an epistolary novel. So it's taking the form of letters written between two brides. And that will bring me to the end of volume 1 here, likely in early July. And I will provide a more detailed schedule for continuing on with volume 2 and volume 3 sometime in mid-June. I'd like to see how I do here with volume 1 first off. And I would like to invite you to read along with me if you like. If you prefer just to comment on the videos as I post them, feel free to do so. If you would at all be interested in starting a group chat on Vox or something like that, do let me know in the comments below and I will set something up. I certainly understand if you're not able to jump right in on June 1st with At the Sign of the Cat and Rackett, but if there's anything in here that you'd like to read along with in June, please let me know. And please let me know as I progress through these volumes whether you'd like to jump in and read along with anything. In the future, I will provide a reading schedule significantly farther in advance. I'm only giving, a day, 2 days notice here because I literally just decided to do this and I decided I wanted to start right on June 1st and hop right in here. So the goal is to do 1 volume a month. Obviously, as I get farther along, some of the books are a novel in themselves, but this is a couple of novels and some novellas or short stories, longer short stories. And we'll see how this goes. There are 25 volumes, so this could be a 2.5-year project. Do let me know if you enjoy Balzac, if you are a fan of his works, if you have a favorite work by Balzac, if you would like to read along with any of these works that I mentioned here. I hope you're all having a lovely Saturday.